What is up, everyone? Oh, shoot, what'd I do here? Oh, shoot, what'd I do here? Let me go back, click this thing. Welcome to another booming stock market brought to you by
Jobs Numbers.
Jobs Numbers. All right. So, guys, quick question for you. We've had some really big banger videos in the last week. Which ones were your favorite on the main channel? Remember, we have a main channel here. This is our 24/7 channel where we talk about, responses to what's going on in the markets, economy, reactions, etc. We had the Super Investors of Congress video that has slayed, and we had the things to know about the NVIDIA 10-to-1 stock split. It's funny. This stock split thing still blows my mind that people still think it's a cheaper company when the stock price splits.
Yeah, I don't understand how that's still possible.
And kudos to anybody who bought Berkshire Hathaway after the 99.98% drop. Although the markets, they said they were going to, obviously nobody gets to keep their shares that bought it at that point. That would have been incredible though.
Yeah.
When do we get a pillar for whether or not a company's CEO is signed of fangirls? Did you see this?
No.
Jensen from NVIDIA was signing a woman's brassiere.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. What's up, Hans?
That's pretty cool. He's a man of the people.
He is a man of the people. He is a man of the people. Oh, I should probably, how do I get, this thing is, let's close that out. Oh, there we go. No, how do I get the chat now? Where's the chat? Default view.
So job numbers came out this morning.
Yeah, why don't you talk about that while I do this?
All right, I got to pull it up. Don't go to my screen yet. Here we go. Private payrolls growth slows to 152,000 in May. So
it slowed.
It slowed. ADP reported that companies added 152,000 jobs in May, fewer than the downwardly revised 188,000 added in April. Let's see here, and this is interesting. Nearly all the hiring came from services sector, which with goods and producers contributing only a net 3,000 jobs.
So
trade, transportation, utilities led with 55,000 new jobs. Education and health services, 46,000 new jobs. Construction, 32,000 new jobs.
So Minnesota governor of the Fed, Neil Kashkari, who's from Akron area, he came out recently and said, I'm just perplexed. People would rather have a recession than have inflation. He's like, you realize a recession means people will lose jobs. So people would rather lose jobs than to still have a job, but costs are just higher.
I don't think people understand that, just like they don't understand the stock split.
Right. Yeah. And also when jobs are lower, people are like, yes, that means more likelihood of a Fed rate cut, but what would cause a Fed rate cut? Go ahead, Mo.
Things changed since yesterday. So yesterday we did a video where I said 99.9% of people said that interest rates were going to stay the same at the June 12th meeting. And the other 0.1% thought that we were going to get a rate cut. Not that it's changed drastically, but it's now 99.7% say rates are going to stay the same. 0.3 see a rate increase. So we have swaying the other way.
Okay.
Interesting.
And guess what? We have no clue what's going to happen. If a recession started tomorrow and it was bad, guess what the Fed would do? They would cut rates.
Yeah.
But you've got to remember that then also a recession hits. Are you likely to see corporate profits go up or down? I don't know. I would imagine it's going to go down, and then people have the negativity of what's going on. It's just, rate cuts are for when you need to spur the economy on. Our unemployment rate's still under 4%. GDP is still growing. Inflation has helped nominal GDP grow. You can always get another job. When inflation happens, those prices never go back down. Rob, I get that, but would you rather have no job? I think that's what President Kashkari, but Fed, what's he called? He's governor? What he's called?
Fed president.
Fed President Kashkari is saying is you'd rather have zero income than three extra percent, not 3%, 3 extra percent of purchasing power less. You'd rather have zero income. Come on. Yes, you can get another job. Don't get me wrong. I believe these things will work themselves out, et cetera. But the logic of saying inflation is going to be 2 to 4% all the time anyhow. So people would rather have no job and no income than have it be 4 to 6%. Come on. So 2 extra, that doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, Rob, I don't agree with that. Think about it. 6 to 10% only 4%. 10% is a really bad unemployment number. Really, really bad. Yeah, I don't agree. Lots of insider buying at NSC. Oh, what's NSC? Did you guys see our video on this channel about our good friend Roaring Kitty? Roaring Kitty. Let's see how the value of his stuff is right now. So let's go pull up GME. What's GME at right now?
I wonder what his future legal proceedings are going to look like.
He's rich now.
Oh, nice.
He's even richer than he was before. That's incredible. Burger King posted a promo pic of Pride Month, but I was most offended that the tomatoes were thicker than the meat patties. We are doomed. Thank you, Matt. Yeah. So again, this is not a doom and gloom situation. We're not trying to sit here and say that it's just a matter of, especially with valuations, stocks are up again today. You sit there and go, well, why? Because of the numbers came in a lot lower. And people are excited about that because that means a slower economy, which means more likely to have a Fed rate cut. I don't know. Are you participating in DFS arbitrage play? I'm not, Zach.
Oh, did they get acquired or something?
Yeah, remember Capital? Who bought them?
Right.
Capital One, was it?
Capital One, yep.
Was it Capital One?
It was a few months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to really play into that. You guys have seen a lot of the stocks I've purchased lately. And I have a lot of puts. God, the puts are, when a stock falls hard, God, those puts are great.
This guy just said Adobe dropped to 439 yesterday. Now it's back to 454.
Wow.
What's Ulta doing?
I don't remember what I have on Adobe. I think I have puts on it at 425 and 415 maybe. So I'm not probably not going to get those shares.
Ulta's 387.
So Peter, you're asking a great question here. Peter asked a very great and common question. Hi, Paul. I always see you mention the market's overvalued with historic stock market GDP valuation. Don't forget 10-year cyclically adjusted PE ratio as well. Do you think with these retirement savings accounts, ease of access to trading, et cetera? Peter, I get it. And I do agree with you. But what I think it means for me is, what I understand that is, investments are going to go based on what your opportunity cost is. If you told me right now that the next 100 years would have 0% interest rates, I would say, okay, these valuations make sense because my opportunity cost is 0%. You're discounting at 0%. These things are much higher, et cetera, et cetera. Ease of access to investing and buying more will lead to more up. But then you have to also agree if it's going to lead to more up, it could lead to more down too. When people get scared and the market turns. Now, we've had the COVID crash, which was a month long. We had the 2022 bear market, which was 10 months long. Could you be right? Absolutely. But there's no up without a down. So I would agree with you in saying, hey, it means that the up's going to be better. But I think it also means the down is going to be worse. That's what I logically base it on, the pendulum swinging. I just always believe that every investment's a present value of all future cash flow. Doesn't matter how many people are participating in the market. If that future cash flow is going to give you a 3% return and you can get 5% from a low risk or no risk 90-day treasury, why would you ever do the stock with the fluctuations? That's my logic behind it. I have no evidence for that, except for from 1870 to 1960, I'm quite sure in that 90 years, there was more access to investing than 90 years before, and yet valuations still work the same way. Paul, what's your opinion on building a cash position with this frost? Taylor, if you're sticking to your retirement calculator, if you use your retirement calculator and you're sticking to your plan, and your plan is well on its way as your dollar cost average and a low cost ETFs, whatever your plan is for retirement, if that is met and you want to sit on cash, I think that's a wonderful idea. But just realize you have to make sure you're still sitting there and hitting your retirement goals. That's my opinion. I don't think that getting in and out of the market and waiting, learn from my mistakes, right? Learn from my mistakes on that one. Is the 50-50 risk worth 15? Yeah, let's see it.
He's asking about Discovery.
Oh, DFS?
Yep.
Bubba Bill. Listen, it's a very common question given about the stock market to GDP ratio. But remember, I also talk about the 10-year cyclically adjusted PE ratio. That takes the profit of the S&P over the last 10 years and brings it to today. It doesn't care about stock market. And by the way, usually in market tops, that's when we start to say like, oh, these things don't matter anymore, et cetera. But I think it's a very, very, very good question to ask. And Peter, spoiler alert, I've asked the same question to myself as I lie in my office or lie in bed at night thinking to myself, what would make this market different? People entering the market, a lot more people entering the market. Yeah. Okay, that makes it different in some aspect, but what would be the downside of that? Just like printing money. Printing money has worked so far, right? Yep. We've printed money for the last, we've printed 50% of the world's money or something like that in the last 2 years. Well, hasn't caused anything terrible to happen, but everything is based on every bubble is based on a logical premise to start. And I look at it going, we can't just do this forever and expect it would be okay. That's the only thing I would sit there and say. Oh, Lulu's reporting earnings today?
Tonight, yeah.
Yeah, Mo is a senior citizen. He lives in Naples.
What's the credit card called?
Discover Financial.
Discover.
Yeah.
Oh, Discover. What's Discovery? Oh, the learning channel.
Yeah, the channel.
Gotcha.
You okay?
Debatable. Discover credit cards suck. That was my first ever credit card I had. Literally, you couldn't use it anywhere. It was terrible.
Really?
It was terrible.
Wait, it was like Sam's Club. It was like the exclusive for Sam's Club.
It was insane how few places you could use it. Now, granted, that was back.
Hey, Nick,
in
can you get me a Coke Zero and a cup
or something? But
thanks, buddy.
You couldn't use that damn card anywhere.
Oh, thanks, Tim. And this live stream is brought to you by Coke Zero. Hey, Coke, I'm still waiting for my check. Yeah. What the fuck is going on with that?
Speaking of, we're derailed right now. So what kind of shoes are those? And they look very comfortable.
Peter Millar.
They look super comfortable.
Peter Millar loafers. Yeah, I have a light gray pair too. I think they're a little small on me, but that's okay.
Are they like really stretchy?
Yeah. Here.
I need to get a pair of these. They look great.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, I could do that.
Mohammed Saleh. What do I think about buying Microsoft now and forget about it for 10 years? Well, where do you think Microsoft is? Where do you think earnings are going to go? First off, I like the fact you're talking about buying. Can you text Sarah and be like, Sarah, what the F? How many times do you have to ask for this? I had an issue with her yesterday.
This is funny.
Okay.
Why don't we do it on a live stream? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. This is funny.
I like Barstool. Who was telling me recently we got to be more like Barstool? And I agree.
Tolu said, I loved my Discover card because it forced me not to spend. Exactly right.
You can't use Discover cards anywhere, says the Amex owner. Amex you can use. People hate you for it sometimes.
Hate it, right. I use Visa now. I don't even use my Amex anymore.
And by the way, I get bothered when you're yeah, I use my Visa. When I used to use my Amex, people would be like, "Oh, I got to charge you a 4% fee." I'm like, "No. If I use my Visa, what's my fee? 0." So if the fee for Amex is 4 or 5% to you, and the fee for Visa is 2 to 3%, you should just charge the spread, not the full charge. That used to always bother me.
Yeah, good luck arguing with the gas station owner about that one.
Yeah, especially the one in Richfield, that corner. Yeah. Those idiots. They believed in your guy. So who's looking for? So Mexico has a new president, ultra left wing.
So he's a communist, right?
She.
She.
Ultra left wing. So I texted a good friend of mine, Joaquin.
Yeah.
I said, Joaquin, I assume you're upset about this. He goes, yeah, we're livid about this, and there's fraud. He actually wrote, did you see it in the group chat? I put it in there.
I saw.
Oh, yeah, Joaquin's a right winger.
Why would anybody like a communist?
What about Ruben?
Well, Ruben's a socialist.
So Ruben loves it.
I haven't asked him. I don't want to ask him because he's an idiot.
He should love
True,
it.
but super funny.
He's funny. It's a little overboard sometimes.
Yeah.
It's coming from me.
Yeah, it's bad.
On the overvalued topic, what do you guys think about Garmin and their 2 earning jumps? So I haven't looked at Garmin in a long time.
Probably since 2021.
Give it, Garmin. Okay. Very consistent. Oh, well, sort of. Low return on invested capital. Good gross margin. Great profit margin. That's great. Great profit margin. What are you guys laughing about? Oh, great market cap to enterprise value.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
True.
Wow. So Garmin's interesting because people think about Garmin, they think GPS. Garmin's used in all these navigation systems for planes, for everything.
They're like the thing. They're like the watch in golf right now.
But forget about the watches. Like they're like every airplane has Garmin in it. I mean, it's like incredible. Are they the watch for golf right now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, for scuba too. Scuba, which I never learned. So Garmin golf watch.
Do any of you guys have a Whoop?
What's a Whoop?
It's the little wristband thing without a screen on it. It tracks like your life.
No.
Thought about getting a Whoop, but I don't know.
Boy, this is such a big watch though. 47 millimeter watch.
Well, it's for golf. You got to be able to see your shots.
47 millimeter.
It's huge. People wear it. Everybody I play with wears one.
It's big. It's big, Tim. This is 41 or 40. This is 40. It's bigger. I mean, listen, you're talking about millimeters, but you think yourself it's not a big deal, but then you wear a 47, you're like, holy cow. Give it, Garmin. Why aren't you getting one? Mikey doesn't wear one.
I can't play with something on my wrist like that. I've tried. Hello from Greece. Hello.
Dancing Diamonds Jewelers Limited. What's your thoughts on rate cuts? I like higher rates. It doesn't affect the way in which I invest. If anything, though, I really want higher rates. I think it weeds out crappy investors and weeds out garbage. I always tell people about real estate. When I look at real estate, 2-3 years ago, we'd be laughed out of an offer. We make an offer, people are like, you're 20 to 30% off. Rates go up. All of a sudden, we're in contract on a $22 million property. We were the number one bidder on a $60 million property. They didn't pick us though. We were only beat by like 200,000, and they took a local investor. We've been in the final group on 5 or 6 multi 8-figure properties. It's like, I don't get this. Why because when rates were 3%, we didn't assume 3% forever. Now rates are 6.5%, which we were always assuming. So give a Garmin. What makes you pay a subscription, which kind of sucks?
Whoop.
Thanks, Hans.
Whoop.
So what is this Whoop thing?
It's this thing. It doesn't have a screen, but they're very popular right now. And it tracks your sleep, tracks your...
Oh, I've seen these.
Real was wearing one yesterday when I saw him. He's like, I like
yesterday?
it. Yesterday? Yeah.
Did you guys play golf?
No. We had boys' night.
I thought it was today.
No. I moved it.
Well, you didn't tell me.
It's in the calendar.
Judas.
I declined
it. Judas.
Brill came to...
Calendar,
Kevin came to boys' night? Where was it at?
My house. With Jack.
Who's Jack?
His kid.
Oh, God.
It was awesome. I love Jack. But he said it's more accurate than his Apple Watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can't believe he wears he's a watch guy and he wears an Apple
I
Watch.
know.
I'm sorry.
He had a sick watch on over the weekend.
Did he?
It was a Starbucks.
Oh, he has a Starbucks?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Heather got it for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really nice watch.
Yeah. Give a Garmin. Why do I keep singing that song? Yeah, Garmin. Let's see what their analyst estimates are. EPS, pretty substantial. Revenue growth. So what's their main source of their revenue? Fitness, outdoors, auto, aviation, and marine. Licensing, mapping data. Yeah. I figure the mapping is probably for Google and not Google, but Apple. They probably, where does Apple get its mapping data?
I think they have their own. I'm pretty sure it's their own.
Where does Apple get its mapping data? TomTom?
Oh, they use TomTom?
Who the hell is TomTom?
TomTom is Garmin's main competitor. Yeah.
Are they publicly traded?
I don't know.
Says right here, TomTom.
I personally have always liked TomTom over Garmin.
Really?
Yeah. When it comes to like GPSs.
Interesting. Matt. Oh, that's a good question. Oh, Taylor. So Tyler, not Taylor. So first I'm going to comment to Taylor. Oh boy. Tell your buddy not to. Tyler, what are your thoughts on Elon's pay package?
What happened?
I mean, he was getting like a $60 billion pay package and like people,
because of the deal he made like a decade ago or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
This is why I don't like the way investors look at money. They're gonna look at it. Elon has increased the business of Tesla. The intrinsic value has gone up substantially in the last 3, 5, 10 years. But because the stock is down, investors are upset. Guys, Elon has nothing to do with the stock price. The fundamentals of the business will drive the stock price. Do I think $60 billion? I don't know. I'm not here to tell anybody what they're worth and not worth, because I truly believe everybody is worth what they get. But I want everybody to look at this as an example of learning that when a stock changes its direction, people's mood changes as well. People went from Elon as a god to now all these bad things about him. Why? Because the stock is down from its all-time high of 415 down to 170, got as low as 100. Guys, that's the way stocks go. And if you want to complain about Elon's pay package, go for it. But that's why I also don't agree in compensation being tied to stock price. I think compensation should be tied to the fundamentals of the business. Hey, Paul, want your opinion? My buddy pulled out his input. I mean, I don't know your buddy's situation. It probably doesn't seem very good. I mean, it could end up being the great move, but
I don't know why you would go to all bonds. I mean, is it just like muni bonds? AAA rated muni bonds or what?
So Hans, you're right. The stock went up like 1,000%. I don't know. People just complain because of recency bias. They see 415 2.5 years ago. They see 170 now and say the guy doesn't deserve $60 billion. Hey, then.
By the way, when he made that deal, he hedged everything on that deal. It was written about in that book that I read, and they did it long ago. And he said, "Okay, I want to. If we don't want to pay me now, we're going to do the deal this way. And if I hit these certain numbers of stock price, then I get paid." And that's what happened. So,
Listen,
I mean, he did basically say,
I agree.
What's everybody bitching about now?
Because you know why they're bitching? Because the stock went like this. That's it.
That's smart.
That's it.
They forgot about when it went like this.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody's biased to the recent. And this is what I want everybody to learn here. There will be a time when the companies that you love will be hated because the stock price has gone down. The company will be better, but the company will be hated because of that. And that's important to understand. Hans, I have a great story for you. Hans. Back in the real estate bubble, when I had people telling me, Paul, you're too conservative. You look at real estate like a bond. You're an idiot, a CD, as I was told. 2 people I knew. They invested in real estate deals in Florida. And they told me, Paul, you got to be in Florida. Paul, you got to be in Florida. Paul, you got to be in Florida. I said, it just doesn't make sense for me. Paul, you got to be in Florida. Okay. Fast forward, real estate collapse happens. One guy, admire him. You know what he said? Hey, didn't work out. I lost everything on those deals. I made all this money, and then lost half on another deal. Whatever. He was mature about it. Another guy, yeah, we're suing. I was like, you remember how you were telling me that I was too conservative and I need to go to Florida? He's like, yeah, Paul, but that guy was being fraudulent. What made him fraudulent? And then all of a sudden, all these stories start coming up. I'm like, so you didn't ask questions when things were going well, but things are going bad. Now you're asking questions. Something tells me when things were going well, he was probably doing the same things that you're accusing of him of today. That's what people do. Listen, my Nvidia short, my NASDAQ short, I exited it. Merrill Lynch calls me. You know what the guy said to me? He said, so what happened? I go, yeah, I made a very, very stupid decision. I went against everything I believe in, and I was betting on something and it didn't work out. And he said to me, I never get these calls. He literally said to me, he's like, everybody always tries to blame us. You should have been watching over me. You should have told me no, not to do this. I'm like, no, I made a fucking stupid decision. I'll live. I only lost, 7-8% of my net worth or whatever it is. I'll be fine. And I look at that and am I patting myself on the back? Absolutely. Because I sat there and made a decision. Because guess what? If I had done well in the decision? Absolutely, I would have bragged about that. Other people would have bragged about it if it went well, and then they blame others when it doesn't. That's human nature. We got to stop doing that. What I'm trying to teach in this community is you're going to make mistakes. Own it. All the more reason, only invest in things that you understand. Only invest in things you understand. Oh, thanks, Scott. Do you see this, Tim? Scott wrote, your video spotlighting stocks at record lows, whether it's 52-week dip or a 3-year low, truly stand out as the most compelling for me. Love your channel. Thank you, Scott. Thank you very, very much. We love that feedback. Love that feedback. Rob,
it's funny.
I agree with you. You're right.
Really funny.
It's a great comment.
They're still doing the service.
Exactly. It's still a service. Guess what? The dealers aren't doing anything to you.
That's a great line.
It's a great comment, Rob. 100% agree with you. 100%. Yeah, Scott, I really appreciate that comment because we like that feedback from people. When we get feedback from people, it's funny. We put out the congressional super investors, and it was doing well, but it wasn't like going gangbusters. And I got a message. Right. It was, out of the last 10 videos, it was number 8, which is not good. I got a message on Twitter from somebody. Paul, loved your super investors of Congress video. I was like, really? Like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's interesting because it's not. And then all of a sudden, it exploded and just went skyrocket. And I was like, oh, now it has almost 100,000 views. When at the time, is it over 100 already? It's funny because I remember thinking to myself like, wow, this video is not even great. And this person's like, this is a great video. Well, YouTube was slow. So we really appreciate that feedback. Oh, thank you, Taylor. Taylor, I want everybody to remember too, like, I don't think for a second, listen, I really regret the shorts. But I'm also going to sit there and say, God, thank God it happened now when I'm worth X versus 20 years from now when I'm worth 10 or 20X. That would be a much bigger mistake.
That would suck.
Oh, yeah, that would totally suck. I'm a big boy. I made a mistake. Guess what?
Also a good boy.
What was that?
Also a good boy.
Yeah.
Nick liked that one.
We have to own our mistakes. When you invest in something, there's a risk of loss. Don't ask questions afterwards. Ask questions before. The thing I always, when people ask me for real estate advice, and they'll say, Paul, I have a real estate guy I want you to talk to. I'm thinking about investing in them. I ask questions and I tell them, I go, and usually 9 times out of 10, the real estate person looks like an idiot because they don't have the answers. Why? Because real estate's a great way to invest and you're probably going to do okay, even if you're not very good at it. So when I tell the person who's investing, I go, listen, if you invest with that person, you'll probably do fine. You'll probably do just fine, but you could probably do better by investing in it yourself and you'll have all the answers you need. That's what I sit there and say, like, it's real estate, just like stocks. If you invest in local, my cousin was texting me this morning. Is Yusuf even on? What a dick if he's not. He literally texted me this morning. I just assume my portfolio is going to go down 50% at some point, but it just keeps going up. He just sits there and goes, listen, I keep dollar cost averaging. I'm going to continue doing it. I assume at some point my portfolio is going to fall big time, but I'm going to keep doing it. That's his way of saying, like, listen, it is what it is. And that's the mentality I want the people who watch our channel to have. I want you to view the future collapses as an opportunity, but also realize they will happen. Don't be surprised by them, but still look for value. And if prices go lower, you buy more. That's the key here. Own up to it. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one that's going to be standing there if something bad happens. Do you see what Brad just said?
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. Yeah, Hodo Prime. Oh, yeah. Zach, good question. Any advice? I find myself slipping, comparing myself to others financially. I know it can lead to me possibly making... Zach, explain that further. If you feel comfortable, you're in the super shorts. If you want to tag me in the super shorts or something like that, please let me know. I would love to have a conversation with you about this because we all struggle with it. It's a comparison. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger say everybody's happy making $2 million until they find out their neighbor made $3 million. Then all of a sudden it's like, that's not enough money. I get it. Especially at a young age. Like Zach's a young guy. He's in his early mid-20s.
Yeah, he's really young.
The comparison thing is everything. I just want you to know something, Zach. They're all frauds. I'm 42 and I look at the people that I was like looking at when I was in my early mid-20s thinking like, man, they're killing it. They're not. Go out there and get more done. And what matters is finding happiness for yourself, as cheesy as that is.
I'll tell you one in the super shorts. Not here, but I'll tell you one in the super shorts.
What was that?
I'll tell Zach, tag both of us in the super shorts chat and let's talk about it.
Oh, that's a great comment, AJ. Good comment. Brad, 8 of your 10 stocks are green thanks to the stock market. 10, and I appreciate the thank you, but your stocks are green because of the stock market. 10 years from now, when you have stocks that you love that have gone up and you feel comfortable with them, even then, I just said what I said. It's on you to go do it. Give yourself the credit. I'm not trying to dismiss the credit at all. I appreciate it very much. But just like if your 8 of your 10 stocks were red, I wouldn't say, yeah, it's my fault. So I can't take the credit. Just like I said here about Merrill Lynch. I sat there and made a mistake. I'm going to take the blame for that because if it worked out, I would have taken the gate. I would have been like, yeah, F yeah, I was the guy here. But I appreciate the fact that you feel better because of our process. Hey, London. Sanjay, I'll be in London in a couple months. Is CVS a buy? I haven't looked at it lately. Oh. Sanjay? Yeah, please look at the 52-week low video. Nick, can you put a link to that for us, for Sanjay, and tag him? Gold watches are fraud. I'm wearing a gold watch right now, and I'm definitely a fraud.
Sarcasm.
Yes. Thank you, Tim. Should I buy SP? Forsha, use our retirement calculator. If you're still on your path to the right retirement, dollar cost averaging, do that. If you have extra money, don't stop your process. The market could go down and go down big. Don't stop your process. What you're focused on here is getting an ultimate goal. At the end of the day, you won't be able to guess where the markets are going to go. Learn from my mistake on this. I did this over the when COVID hit the low of 2090, I should have been way more aggressive. I thought it was the start of a really big bear market. So 4 years later, that's where I'm at. I want you to remember that. And even then, Hans, don't give me praise. What I want is you to sit there and say, Paul taught a process that made sense to me, and I went and applied it. I still can't force you to buy or sell anything. I'm literally sitting here, just like when I do well, if I do well in investing over the next 60 years, I'm not going to say, thank you, Bill Gates. Not Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. Did I just trigger Rob by saying 100%. Bill Gates?
Yep.
We're here to teach a process, and I love and I appreciate the accolades. We're trying to provide the tools in the community that allow you guys to learn from each other. I look at retirement calculator. I have an email going out today. When I talk about retirement, guys, retirement calculator really changed the way in which I viewed money and investing. Really did. And I love it. And if you don't use it a lot, I'm the number one user of retirement calculator this year in our community. Number one. I love it. And guys, I could retire today and never blink an eye. But I love it. Yazid, I would talk to Dalton about that. Are you part of our community? If you're part of our community, go into the Dalton. We're going to start talking about small cap. We're going to have to figure out some things because our metric is $2 billion that we have to stay. But we're going to do a small community within our community of smaller companies. Paul, you're only a fraud because of your Tesla takes. Thank you, Rob. That's true. See, British Tobacco is Michael Burry's largest holding. Is it really? Man, British Tobacco. Stockcircle.com. Let's look up Burry. Biggest holdings.
JD. Bob, I don't see it.
I don't see BTI on here. I don't even see it. Period. Yeah, I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
I have BTI.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I just look at it. Mo, I just look at this. This is selling for 5.5 times free cash flow. And the business is declining business potentially, right? Mm-hmm. The free cash flow is up. And I'm looking at going, the only thing I don't like is they pay a 10% dividend. They're doing like no buybacks. Like you got to buy back the stock. That's the issue I have. Like if they bought back that stock and it even went to a 10 price of free cash flow, it'd be an insane return over the next 10 or 15 years.
He said it's not a 13F listing.
Can you talk about your biggest conviction play, Paul?
Personal holding.
Oh, Taylor. So good question. What's my biggest conviction play? I have no idea. This is what I love about my product. Like literally, if you said to me right now, Paul, pick the one you feel the best about, I have no idea. Because this is why I need to be diversified. I got to go against the Warren Buffett idea of saying, hyper focus. I need to be diversified, but wait for the companies to fall at the right price. There'll be a time when I think I'm going to have 50 or 60 companies like Peter Lynch had 100 or more and just be like, they bought them at the right price. And every single month, whichever ones are undervalued, I'm going to buy more of those shares and just keep doing it and build myself my own mini S&P ETF. And over time, I think it's going to do well. But remember, I don't need to crush the market to get the return, to live the life I need to live. That's what's great. I don't value insurance companies, Rob. I'm terrible at it. I never learned it. Dalton has an idea, right? So talk to Dalton about it in the community, Rob. Oh, Neo's reporting tomorrow. That's right. What do we think about Palantir? We've done some videos on Palantir, Alberto. Brad, good question. Would you add more money in 401k after maxing company? Yes.
Max it out.
I believe in maxing out your 401k first. Make sure you can buy low-cost ETFs, though, or low-cost index funds. But why would you not just max it out?
I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is they only go to their company match.
Yeah. Guys, 401ks and IRAs are untouchable by creditors, which means if you ever have financial problems and you have to declare bankruptcy, they can't touch those. Put as much money as you can in them. Plus, you're going to be penalized for taking it out. It's forcing yourself to save. Do that. When we didn't have a 401k in our company, I told my dad, put me on your payroll for the exact max of 401k. That's what he did. The time it was like 17.5. I go, give me 17.5 a year in income. And every year it goes up because my dad has a 401k. I'm like, I wanted to max my 401k and I have more money than I ever need. And I wanted to max my 401k out. It's not PayPal, Mark, but I also like the fact that I don't have a super high conviction company. I like the fact that I feel good about all the investments I have. Are there ones that are less exciting, more risk than the others? Absolutely. I think Intel is probably the biggest, Intel and Baba probably the biggest concerns I have because I think Intel more. Intel's a full turnaround play in my opinion.
Yeah.
Baba, it's the whole geopolitical risk that we have to deal with. How can I learn to be patient and wait for the stock? Surround yourself with like-minded people. Focus on that. Focus on putting yourself in this repetition over and over of being patient. Find something else to do to make money, whether it's trading, whether it's selling puts, whatever it is, get yourself distracted. That's how you get the patience. Daliad, I've not shared my portfolio performance in my videos before. I never will, but just to let you know, it's crap right now. I have like 80% cash. 80% cash making 5.25%, 5.4%. Now, actually, probably the last 2.5 years is probably pretty decent.
Probably.
Because the market hasn't beaten even like treasuries in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah. Plus you have some pretty good runners in there.
Yeah, I've had some companies run up. Yeah. Trying to think which ones I want to. Man, Sprouts. I really wish that thing would fall.
That's not going to. That one's over.
We're not going to be adding that position anymore.
I don't think so. God, it's up 124% since we bought or something.
Oh, Intuit. I haven't looked into it in a while. Hey, maybe you're right, Hodo Prime.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. I think the low ROIC is skewed by the recent results, but you might be right. So what was the other one? Intuit.
Thoughts on Toyota? Yeah, Toyota had huge recalls not yesterday, the day before.
Yeah, Corollas. That means everybody on Twitter who's a millionaire is not going to have a car.
That's true. I heard Tundra's got hit pretty 22s and 23s or something.
Ooh, I love the free cash flow is higher than net income on Intuit. High returns on invested capital. Great margin, 78%. With profit margin very consistently, 19.5%. My watch list price is $450. I wonder why that is. Intuit. Oh, that's why. Oh, wait a second. Time out.
What do you think about withdrawing from 401k to buy your first home?
Oh, I could make the argument for Intuit today. I think you just save up money. I don't believe in that. maybe not today, but on a 10-year basis, let's see what analysts are saying that growth will be in revenue. Listen, that's the art of investing. If somebody said to me they're buying into it today, I'd be like, all right, I don't know if you're going to make a killing, but I don't think you're. I don't know. I just look at it going, if it makes sense for you and your portfolio, and you're putting a small. I mean, I don't know. That's the hard part about investing, especially on a YouTube channel. You have 250,000 subscribers. You have to know so much more about it personally. That's why, if you want to have a financial planner, them knowing about your goals in your life are very important.
I haven't looked at Shopify in quite some time. They don't make money. They have free cash flow, though.
Yeah, I just responded to that. What's a BBL?
I don't know. What's the context?
Warren Buffett is still doing both, I think. I think he's still buying. He's also adding to his cash pile. Guy, listen, it's a really great question. I have no problem sharing what's in my portfolio, but based on what I buy, when I buy it, all these things, it's just, let's put it this way. For people out there who've said to me, hey, Paul, you're hiding away by doing the stock portfolio. I sit there and say, I always say to every single one of them, great, let's put up 50 grand each, 100 grand each. Let's do a competition. And nobody's ever taken me up on it over a 10-year period. I'm not worried about that. What I'm here to do is teach a process. Now, is this driven by lawyers a lot? Of course it is. Is it driven by me a lot? Of course it is, because I want to make sure that people look at Cathie Wood versus Warren Buffett. Remember when Cathie Wood was at 160 a share and they said Warren Buffett's dead? Now all of a sudden Buffett's crushing. Like, how many people said Warren Buffett's dead? This is terrible, et cetera. I'm like, the only person dead is Charlie Munger. Buffett is not, his thought process works. Now, is Buffett going to make as much money as he has in the past? Absolutely not. He's too big to do that. Am I going to make, I think Dalton's a really, really good investor. Dalton's going to absolutely crush my investing. We're in different stages of our life. We have different ways of investing. That's the key I want everybody to understand. If you want to make a lot of money, focus on small caps and smaller companies. If you want to do well, yeah, you can do large cap companies, but you got to be ready to see the market go against you and people say this is a bad investment. That's what it's big important for.
BBL is a Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yep.
Oh, Aaron, great question. I think I'm of course I'm rooting for Alcaraz. Once you've selected a company invested and plan on holding for years, how often should you analyze the stock thereafter? That's a good question. I think I still look at the quarterly results only to see, did they say anything that's like, oh boy, I got to be careful that the future permanently looks bad because of this. Other than that, I do it probably once every
quarter.
Maybe not even that much. Once every 6 months or a year, I do a stock analyzer saying, okay, is the thesis still the same? Have things gotten better? Have things gotten worse? Does the future look better? Does it look worse? And decide if and the other thing is I still have a lot of cash. So for me to sell, I have to really think like, okay, this company I do not want to own this company ever again. Could you also analyze UPAT? I think we've done that before in a video. Why don't you check out that video? Because let me see, after the drop.
Rob, do you even own Tesla anymore?
No, he does not.
I thought you sold everything except like one share just so you can tell us that you own Tesla.
Is that a fact?
I think so. I think it was something like that.
Oh, that's interesting. Their price of free cash flow is 20. They're showing free cash flow versus net income. This might be the most generic explanation besides Palantir's explanation on what they do. Look at that. All-time high of $90 back in 2021. It's at $11 now. Interesting. Just invest in not just a car company. You're right. Google stole Eli Lilly's CFO. Wow.
Taylor, Pfizer for me. Global leader in virus treatment. And more importantly than that, I think that their acquisition of Seattle Genetics was brilliant. Because they hold the antibodies to everything. So every drug company needs to now go to Pfizer to get the antibodies to do their own testing.
Sanjay, I have zero price targets for any of my companies. All I know is I think to myself, do I want to own this company? Yes, Stock Analyzer tool gives you a price target, but to me, it's more about, I like Warren Buffett's idea of saying, investing is like going to the carnival and somebody guessing your weight. You don't want to be where you're like, oh, I got to be within 1 or 2% accurate. I want to be to the point where this is clearly a buy. And to me, a lot of these companies are clearly a buy. Now, am I more conservative because of that? Yeah. Is it hard for me to, like, Is it clear? Oh, I shouldn't say clearly a buy. It's hard to explain because you look at it and go, if every single one of my stocks fell in half tomorrow, they're all clearly a buy. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, they're all clearly a buy, right? And that's what I want to focus on. Like, okay, I have stocks right now. And do I like them? Yes. Do I think they're all great buys today at today's price? Not necessarily. Actually, no. A lot of them have run up a lot because of the market. Not because of me, because of the market. I just same thing. I just look at it going, okay, let's see how it goes. Please check BBW.
Build-A-Bear?
Yeah, Hans, that's true. I could be down 80%. Is Hans being funny or is he trolling?
I think he's trolling.
Oh. Who's he trolling?
You?
Me? Interesting. You consider yourself a long-term investor or day trader? Who's Dave?
Jim Dave?
His name is Jim Dave? I don't think so.
Dave is part of the...
Or he's not in there. Yeah. Let's see here. Too soon? Yeah, this is a good conversation today. Would you guys invest in Canada or India? Listen, I look at India and I look at it going, that's going to be an amazing market at some point. I mean, they've got 1 billion people. They've got immense potential they have big tech growth. I look at India. I would love to be able to, even Africa, I'd love to be able to figure out a way to invest in Africa at some point. Guys, you got to remember, as the world gets richer and richer, the poorest countries are going to be lifted up the most. The poorest areas are going to be lifted up the most. A lot of potential there. Build-A-Bear, I think, has a good opportunity to grow, and it's trading cheap. Yes, I do have 1 to 9 business upstairs. Oh, thank you, Sanjay. Well, I hope for you, I'm wrong about Tesla. It doesn't matter to me if I'm wrong about Tesla because I don't own it, but I hope for your sake, I am wrong about Tesla. And I do mean that from the, yeah, I did fall for that straight up. What's the feature showing? How do I grow my levels? Oh, Brad, good question. Do you guys want to, Tim, do you want to explain the levels of growing the levels?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the rewards program, if you go and you click in it, actually, Paul, let's have you pull it up real quick behind you.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. And go ahead and click right there where your picture is. And then go down to rewards program. All right. And then there's a earn points button, or I should say link right there below your points. Yep, click that. There's different ways on how, if you're looking at Paul's screen, on how you can earn points. We'll be adding more things to it, like watching courses, exclusive content, things of that nature. And then over there next to it is the tier list. To your left, right there. And it shows the different levels that you can achieve over time. And then we just track your activity. So you see below, like Stock Analyzer, how many times you've used it, chat messages. And then
over time, what do you get?
And over time, you can go back to it. Click the My Rewards next to My Status, and you can redeem for merch. You can also redeem for money off the software. Paul can't because he gets his free, but yeah, in there you can see all the different ways that you can redeem points.
Yeah, we got to explain that further on there. Yeah, so we'll do a video on that sometime.
Absolutely.
BPW is Big Black. He's trolling you. I'm not betting on the NBA Finals. Oh, wow. CNBC, Hanesbrand is still champion. What's Hanesbrand at?
Ticker symbol HBI.
Alberto, Santa Barbara County, California. We saw Adobe pop today. Yeah, I mean, I think Adobe is one of the best companies out there. To me, what I'm trying to teach here is not to react based on a news event, is to buy a good company at a good price. By the way, I believe that a great price for a company depends on the company. So I think, like, for example, Adobe at $250 is a phenomenal price for Adobe. But Palantir at $15 is not a great price for Palantir. That's the thing. Like, I want everybody to understand what I'm trying to explain here. Yes, Hans. Hans, if you get 1 million points, you can bill me for every meal you have the rest of your life. Just kidding. That is a joke. Tim just looked up at me like, "What are you saying?" That's a joke. So do I sports gamble in general? I just downloaded DraftKings, guys.
I'm not gonna lie. This whole sports gambling thing on everywhere I look for sports is getting extremely annoying. Like I pulled up the MLB app yesterday and it was giving me like odds and shit. I don't give a fuck.
So
I
guys,
don't care what the odds are. That this guy
I do $1 bets on
You should be
DraftKings.
able to turn that off.
I do $1 bets on DraftKings. I do I prefer FanDuel, but FanDuel like won't give me my account back because I closed it permanently because I was never using it, and now I regret
You
that.
should use Barstool.
Can I do Barstool?
Yeah. Barstool Sports Gambling.
What am I doing here?
Yeah. Support Prez.
Yeah, 100%. I have not looked at Baidu. Did you see what Hans just said? Adobe's a great company. Lots of fat, ugly people out there. You have to use Photoshop on. Every time I hear Jim Cramer speak, I hear that sound that plays when Pac-Man dies. I get what you're saying, Hodo Prime. Listen, paying off debt can be like, look at AT&T. I wish AT&T would just pay off, like take all their cash flow and just pay down their debt because it's really hurting the company, I think. I'm crushed. Have either of you guys experienced in stocks after purchasing 80 or 90% on a stock after purchase? In my life, yes, I had a stock lose 100% back in 2001. Global Crossing, go look at that one. That was insane. Global Crossing, effing terrible. The guy went from $0 to a billionaire in 11 months and then back to zero. But I was a different, quote unquote, investor back then. I was a speculator back then. 80 or 90% drop. I think, here's the deal. If you have an 80 or 90% drop in a market that's down 50 or 60%, that's a lot different than an 80 or 90% drop in a market that's up. And I think that's what would determine what am I doing wrong here? Or there's a story behind it. Do ESPN bet, not DraftKings. DraftKings, I'm not a huge fan of the DraftKings app. So I'm going to do Barstool. Do you do Barstool? Can I do $1 bets on things?
I have no idea. Do you remember when I drove to PA? For
Yeah,
the Super
I
Bowl?
remember that.
That's what it was. Here, I'll send you that app. Barstool Sportsbook. That's the name of it. That's still a thing, right? Or did that go away after the sale?
Let's look it up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Barstool Sportsbook. I put Barstool.
Nick, is it Barstool Sportsbook still a thing?
I don't think it is one.
Maybe it's DraftKings now. Maybe they just absorbed them.
Son of a gun.
That's sad.
Paul, is cash flow and revenue growth the most important metric when analyzing companies? The most important metric, I think it's a lot of metrics working together. For example, if the PE and price of free cash flow is really high, but the revenue and cash flow growth is insane, I don't think there's any one metric that I look at saying, to me, I really just want to have good balance sheets as a kind of like okay, this is what I want to focus on in terms of my start. Listen, I bought a company recently, I forget which one, but it was like at 28 times free cash flow, but I was okay with that. That's a lot. Right? So because the other part of the story was a lot of growth, a lot of repurchasing of shares at lower prices when it does go lower, that kind of thing. Oh, I love that Caitlin Clark has absolutely blown. Do you know what I just saw? 5 games into the Indiana Fever season, they have more people that came to the game than all of last year, and last year was a record year for them. So last year the entire season was a record year, and they already got more people, I think, in the first 5 games at home than they did all of last year.
Wow.
Mo, look at this.
What?
Currently a 9.4, but I'm playing more like a 7.
I'm
You sound like a chess player saying, my rating is blah, 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 but I'm playing at a much higher level.
The funny thing is I went to lunch with Mikey the other day, and I'm like, I'm really close to consistently shooting in the 70s. He's like, yeah, you are. I'm trending the other direction right now. I'm playing pretty good.
Mikey was saying he's going to get scratched this year. Do you think he will?
I don't know. it's so hard. I mean, for him to go from, let's just call him a 2 right now, a 2 to a 0.
It's so hard.
So hard.
Yeah. He's never broken par in his life.
Right.
That's the hard part.
I don't think he'll get to a scratch this year. I think he'll do it in the next 2 to 2.5 years.
Guys, if those of you golfers out there, my brother's a 2 handicap and he's never broken par in his life. That just shows how consistent a golfer he is.
Yeah.
He's never broken par in his life and he's a 2 handicap. Yeah. And handicap is the average of your top 8 of last 20 rounds.
Yeah.
So for that to happen and still be a 2 handicap without breaking par ever, that's insane.
I've been working, like I told you, like hard on playing the game of golf, like thinking and stuff. My scores are just dropping like crazy. I still have my screw ups. I still get my doubles, but it's incredible how you hit a bad drive and you go, okay, I'm just going to get a bogey right here. And you get that bogey instead of trying to be a hero.
Well, what's your best round ever? I'll tell him. Zach's asking.
76.
Mine is 2.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mine's 76 as well.
Yeah.
Mine was at Portage, I think, which is an easy course. My lowest round ever at a good course, Firestone South, I shot 78.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Pretty proud of myself.
I would say. I've shot 76 3 times.
Well, how many hole-in-ones do you have?
0.
Oh, 0. I have 2.
Basically does it. He puts a blindfold on. He swings once a year. It goes in the hole.
Literally the second hole-in-one was after, I was playing my 1 time per year.
It's so ridiculous.
Harsha, it all depends on your situation. I have a lot of cash, but I have several businesses upstairs. I have real estate. I have so many things going on. It doesn't bother me. But as long as I believe in dollar cost averaging and a low cost ETFs, the money you need in order to hit your retirement goals. Use our retirement calculator, figure out what the right number is for you. Make sure you invest that. Any extra cash, whatever you want to do with it, but wait for the right time. Cash now is a very good option. 5.4% of 90-day treasuries, but make sure you're still invested. Dollar cost average and low cost ETFs. Make that your habit. I think you will love it.
Oh, I'm going to Mesquite, Nevada, and playing Wolf Creek next April, and then we're going to Utah.
It's where you to par. It's where are you to par?
Yeah, so each hole has a number of shots that you should get it in the hole. Par is that number.
Hey, Hans, I'll give you $1 million if you can tell me that half of the 20 business is downstairs. I don't know what's going on with Marathon Digital Holdings.
No clue.
Mark, no, Mo's much more invested than I am. Yeah, I mean, I still invest as much as I can. When I see a stock that I want fall, I sell puts, I buy shares. I do that, and I will be 100% invested in stocks at some point. And then my goal is to just keep buying companies that make sense at the prices that make sense. I want to make it systematic. I have a process where I'm going to do it in the future where when I'm 100% invested, as I add more money to my account, I will every month buy all the companies that are under my intrinsic value based on the proportion they're under. So the one that's most under, I'll put more money into than the one that's least under and go from there. Wisconsin. Yeah, Mo, where'd you play in Wisconsin? Whistling Straits?
Yeah, Whistling Straits, Sand Valley Resort, Erin Hills. It was awesome.
I quit golf on TPC Scottsdale.
That's an epic story.
Great story. Great story.
How many eagles? I think I have, it's either 4 or 5.
Oh, see, I have 2 hole-in-ones. Those are already eagles. So I already have your number of eagles just in hole-in-one. Half your number of eagles just in hole-in-ones.
That's true. Do you have any eagles?
Actually, I don't know. I only have 2 others. That's the funny part. I think I only have 2 other eagles.
Yeah, I got an eagle. And my last eagle was in Scotland. At Kingsbarns.
Lost Islander. I love this question. Paul, what's the total number of companies you want to own in the end? Whatever makes sense for me to own. That's generic. If it's 100, it's 100. If it's 20, it's 20. I'm already at 20, I think. But the companies I buy, I want to own for a very, very long time. And if I have excess cash and new companies to buy, I will do that. I'm not looking to sell a stock and you might sit there and say, well, Paul, is that really smart? A lot of people would say it's not smart, but it works for me. And I like that diversity, but being able to buy cheap companies at good prices and let them compound on each other and themselves. And I don't want to have to worry about one company doing way better than the other. I think minimum, I want 30 to 35 stocks. All right, guys, 1 more minute left. Hans always has good food recommendations. What are they?
He always does. Anywhere I'm traveling and he's been, he has pretty good recommendations.
Can I correct something? Hodo, Buffett doesn't have cash. He has T-bills. It's the same. I get it. I get what people are saying. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I know it's not cash. It's cash equivalent. Because at the end of the day, if he had to sell all those things tomorrow to buy stocks, he would take very little. Even if rates went up 2%, he would take a very small hit on a 90-day treasury. If anything, it'd be negligible. When I say cash, I literally mean 90-day treasuries. Because I'm not going to have my money actually sitting in cash earning nothing. Yeah, I agree with you, Zach. Mark, I just basically created my own based on history. It's the same thing. It's in terms of stock market GDP versus the Buffett indicator. Yeah, I agree with you, Rob. You're right. You can sell T-bills any second you want. Boom. Agreed. 100%. Ethan, why only hold for 5 or 10 years? Why am I getting ads on a live stream? There's an ad on a live stream.
I have no idea.
Hans, don't be cheap. Pay for the premium. Guys, thank you very much for your time. Great live stream. I appreciate it. I will talk to you guys later.
See ya.
Thanks, Jim.